Hi everyone, Kajal here. I just am going to record a video that's been something I want to make for a while, and I'm going to sit down and just going to talk about this topic because it's been something that has bothered me a lot of my life, but of course, something that now I feel like I've gained so much wisdom and understanding from. And this is about when your parents don't acknowledge or even think that they've caused any harm or pain or trauma to you. They're oblivious to their own part that they played in the relationship with with you and the pain that you've experienced as a child. Like they kind of sweep it underneath the rug. They don't even acknowledge that they could have done something or did something that caused you pain or harm, and how to move through that that experience, that feeling like you're being gaslit because they feel like they didn't do anything wrong, they caused you no harm. What's the big deal? You're making a fuss about this. There's nothing here. Um, it's a really hard place to be in because we often feel gaslit. We feel like our experience was something maybe we just made up or dramatized, or are feeling like it's not of a big deal as it is, like making a big deal out of it. Um, and my answer to that question as to how to move through it is realize that people can only meet you at the level of consciousness that they have met themselves. So if someone is unwilling to acknowledge the pain or the suffering or the harm that they have caused you, it is because they're oblivious to their own pain, to their own suffering. That is the only reason. Because if they were to acknowledge that the fact that they caused you harm, or there was something that they did to you that hurt you, that made you feel not important, not enough, not loved, then that would mean that they were a bad parent. And that means they would then have to look at their own behaviors and actions and take responsibility for that. And a lot of people don't want to feel the pain of their own dysregulated behaviors and actions. Because when someone is behaving towards you in that way, it's because they are hurt, they're dysregulated in their own nervous system, and they're playing out their own dysfunction. And I know as a child on the receiving end, when your parents just completely deny that they did nothing wrong or harmful to you, it can feel so like it can re-traumatize you even more. It can even cause deeper pain to you even more. You could feel angry because now you're feeling like maybe I just made all this up. Maybe it isn't as bad as I thought it was. Maybe this isn't really how they are. You start to gaslight yourself because they're gaslighting you. And the way to move out of this is to free yourself from needing them to understand, which I know is easier said than done. It is so hard to just be like, I don't need my parents to accept responsibility here or to understand where what they've done and how it's hurt me and how much it's affected me and my sense of self-esteem or my perception of myself, or how I feel about myself. It's about understanding that I don't need them to feel better. All I need is myself. I need myself to feel better about myself. I don't need them to feel better about myself. And this is also where when we forgive them for not understanding, we free ourselves from needing them to understand. We free ourselves from needing them to fix it for us, for them to take responsibility, because you're going to be waiting on someone to take responsibility who's not even aware that there's a responsibility to be taken. So the responsibility for your own healing really lies in your own hands. The responsibility for your freedom lies in your own hands, and the responsibility for you feeling better lies in your own hands. And I think it's important to go through that process of feeling the anger, feeling the resentment, feeling the pain, feeling the frustration, feeling whatever you need to feel for them not acknowledging, understanding, or taking responsibility for the pain or the harm or the suffering or their actions or their behaviors. I think it's very, very important to work through that. And when you have felt those painful emotions of not being met, of not being understood, of not being validated, then you can move on to the empowerment side, which is give it the new meaning, give it a new perspective, give yourself freedom from all of this by you deciding that you get to heal, you get to feel better no matter what. That's my short answer. And the way the process of going through the emotions and the pain of that is where the real work is, of the anger, the resentment, the hurt, the feeling gaslit. That's where the work is. That's where you need to sit with yourself. And this is a great opportunity to journal everything out in a journal. Talk to someone that you trust, who can hold space for you. Go through that process with somebody who you trust and hold space, and give yourself that ample amount of space to feel everything that you didn't receive and everything that you want to hear, everything that you want to be said to you, the apology that you want, and the validation of your pain and suffering that you want. But if you don't do that, you'll stay a victim, right? You'll stay a victim and you'll continue to blame other people for the things in your life and the way you're feeling and how you're not healing and the way you're suffering and stuff like that. Waiting on someone else to accept responsibility is going to only keep you living in that codependent victim pattern, because now you're continuing to feed that story and you're needing someone else to change before you can feel better. And that's a huge gamble and not a guarantee, but you can free yourself. You can take responsibility and say, this person is where they're at the level of consciousness, the level of understanding that they're at, and they did what they did because that's where they were at, but I have the power to free myself. And if I want to do this, I have to move through all the pain and the emotions that are sitting in my system. And as I do that, I'm no longer bound to this. I'm no longer attached to this. I'm feeling better. And that's the goal. The goal is to feel better. Feel better about yourself and feel better in yourself as well. That's all I have to say about that. And if you want to listen to more, just more goodness, more wisdom from me, of course, check out the rest of my videos on YouTube. But go listen to my podcast, Unlearn Yourself, and come find me over on Instagram at Kajal S. Pandey. All my love. Stay open.